Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bag Ladies Show. You know, we really want to encourage people to give back, and we sell bags to fund causes for women who are in crisis, who have needs in the U.S. and around the world. And we really also want to encourage you to live lives of purpose and service. We have an amazing woman who was born in Kenya, who we're going to be interviewing in just a moment. She immigrated to the U.S., done some great things.
Oh, amazing things. And since we're, doing a lot of work in Kenya, why don't we start out with a few facts about Kenya today?
Good idea.
First off, Kenya is about the size of Texas and has over 40 million people.
40 million beautiful people.
Beautiful people. Most of Kenyans are farmers living in rural areas, and their main exports are tea and coffee.
And let me tell you, it is the bestest tea and coffee in the world. Our tea and coffee is bogus compared to their tea and coffee.
Coffee is delightful.
It's great. It's great.
Well, Kenya is also known for their runners and their world-renowned safaris.
And they are spectacular. I mean, it's like you're just stepping out of a National Geographic magazine. It's incredible. And by the way, the Bag Ladies are going to be taking a team or some people who might want to go to Kenya this summer. So we'll be talking more about that. The safaris are a high point in the whole trip.
It is. And a safari is included in every one of our trips. And sometimes people are like, oh, well, we feel bad. We shouldn't be doing that. They need our tourism.
Tourism is
it drives their economy. It creates jobs. So it's a fun thing for everybody. It really helps their economy.
Helps everybody.
There are 42 tribes with different languages, but the official national language is Swahili.
And there's only really one word that you need to know because they also speak fantastic English. Much better English than what we do. We crucify the King's English. But there's only one word you really need to know, and it's jumbo.
Jumbo.
What does that mean?
Hello.
Hello. Howdy. Hello, jumbo.
The currency of Kenya is a shilling.
And I just happen to have one here. This is 100 shilling. It is worth about $1. And the first president of Kenya, President Jomo Kenyatta, is on this 100 shilling bill. So if you go with us, you will be very much introduced to shillings.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But always our favorite part of Kenya is the people.
Always.
I mean, they are just so humble, particularly the people in the villages, and so thankful and so wonderful. I mean, their children are beautiful and so well behaved. Tonight, you're going to be inspired by one of Kenya's best. Her name is Lilly Richards. She grew up as a poor girl in a rural area, Kakamega in Kenya. And she was able to immigrate to the U.S. I guess we have a lottery system, and she was able to get in that way. She started an incredible organization called Kenya Women in the United States, or KWITU, and it's a vast network which helps these women who have come here. And can you imagine how scary that is? Some of them by themselves. She also has started a cosmetic line. Fascinating story that you're going to be encouraged by. Enjoy and listen to the wonderful story of Lilly Richards. We are here today with the beautiful,
gorgeous
Lilly Richards. Hi, Lilly. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Well, we're just so great, and we're just so happy to have you on. We're just so excited about it. You have such an amazing story, and you've done some amazing things. And so, I really just want to start there because our audience, I know your audience knows a lot more about you, but our audience in large part doesn't. And I want them to hear the Kenya part. So I want to know about where you grew up and what was life like for you in rural Kenya?
Awesome. So before I get into all that, I want to thank you for having me. And also thank you for all the work you do in Kenya. I don't know how you ended up in Kenya, but we're glad you're there. Thank you for all the support you're giving to our people. As for me, yes, I was born in Kenya at a place called Kakamega. It's in the western part of Kenya. Many people hear about the big cities, and if you know, Kisumu is very popular, especially with the bird watchers, because there's so many species of birds there. So every time I meet anybody who's into bird watching, they say something about, oh, we've been to Kisumu, and that's how I knew Kisumu is popular with that. So we're just about an hour from Kisumu, or 45 minutes from Kisumu.
Okay.
Yes. I was born the first child in a home of four. I have a sister and two brothers. My mom, who is in Kenya right now, but she lives here, also she used to work with the Ministry of Health, and my daddy was an accountant. He's late now. He died in the year 2000. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about rural life, particularly for girls. Well, what is that like?
So, I'll do my best to put it into perspective, really, because for me, most of it seems normal, but it's gonna be different totally for somebody who's never been to Africa. So you have, I don't know if they can relate, but the rural life is a simple life.
Yes, it is.
You were born, you grow up without ever seeing your parents owning a car or anything, and it's just okay because that's the life you know. So we were so used to going to school, sometimes without shoes and without a bag. You put your books in a plastic bag, go to school as long as you're able to go to school. You use one book for everything. Sometimes you take one exercise book and split it in the middle so that you can have two books. It was so simple. It was so, we just did with what we could get or what we could afford, and that's the life I knew, especially when I was a kid. To the point when you're growing up and you go into upper primary school, now you start, maybe your parents start giving you shoes at least every day, because now you're getting older. You have plastic shoes. They call them, I don't know how they call it in English, but we call them sandals.
Okay, flip flops.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember wearing that for so long. I think until I was out of primary school, and they were the best thing. You'd clean them up so well. Sometimes would put oil on them to shine. It's crazy, but
Yeah, no.
yeah. Honestly, it was a humble life, and I loved it because there wasn't anything else that we
compare it to.
hardly. Yeah, that's all we knew. We didn't have TVs until later on, and we didn't know much. We'd see cars, but cars are for special people, rich people, and all of that. Yeah. And the place is just not even far from where I grew up, that people had never seen cars for when they were babies or kids, But now, of course, things are different. Yeah.
And that's so interesting. We have a good friend who came to America from Africa, and he was blown away by a car wash. We going inside of it and seeing the water, and he thought that was the craziest thing ever. What was what stuck out to you when you first came to America as something like, what is this?
Okay, I'm laughing at the car wash because that was very shocking to me too, because I was like, what? And I remember going with my guardian, the lady who took me in, and we went to the bank. I remember it was a drive-through at the PNC bank. And when she put her stuff on that tube and it went up, disappeared, I was like, whoa, what is happening?
You thought you were in outer space.
Oh gosh, yeah. I was like, wow, how does that happen? And then it comes back with money and
Money
It goes back.
and a sucker.
Miraculous.
Yeah, and then there was also this thing about when, walking into Macy's and the doors, no, it wasn't Macy's, it was somewhere. The doors just go open. And it's so funny now when I think about it. And even sometimes, like, you would go in the bathroom and the bathroom just flashes and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't touch anything. What just happened?
It's even done and it's flushing. What's going on?
Yeah.
Well, let me go back. So let's go back just a little bit, and I want to know, and our listeners I know will want to know, how did you get here?
Yeah.
What were the circumstances that got you from Kenya to the United States?
Mm-hmm. So it's really a crazy story, but how I got here is not that crazy. So basically, growing up, when I was little, I really used to love watching the NBA. Now we had a TV and everything when I was in high school. And even in school, in high school, we had entertainment, and we had on Saturdays, we could have TV all day. If you want to go watch TV, you could go, or you want to go stay somewhere and read. So I really love to watch the NBA. And it's so funny. I had never been to America. I had never, I had no connection whatsoever, but I really loved the LA Heat for some reason. I don't know why. So there was just this team that I loved so much. And I remember some of my friends, we used to have this thing where we were just fanatics, and they would be like, oh, Chicago Bulls, blah, 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 and we would fight and talk. It's crazy. Kenyans, we just like that. Like with soccer, people just have teams that they will fight you for. They don't even have shares in Manchester United or Arsenal, but it's just a thing. So I really always now started thinking about going abroad when I was in high school, and I spoke to my father about it, and he started processing my university paperwork when immediately I finished high school, and he was trying to get me to come to Alabama. And at that time, I thought I really wanted to be a lawyer, so I was trying to go to law school. So I started now staying focused about going to the States. I just really started thinking about it, and I started entering the lottery. So I was just like, whichever works first is okay. And I remember my dad did this. We got the applications. We did an application. We sent our paperwork. We got the paperwork from the university. My dad filled out everything, sent out bank statements, all of that. And at that time, my family was not. We were doing much better, because when we started, my dad had not even gone to college. But by the time I was in high school, he had graduated from an accountancy college. He had CPA 1, 2, 3. He was a senior accountant. He was doing well. So, he went to college when he already had a family. So he was really trying to send me to school, and then unfortunately he died before this whole process came through. And so it's almost like my dreams were all shattered. I had given up. I decided, you know what, I'm not even going to, I'll never amount to anything. My dad, who was fighting for me, is gone. My dreams are gone, and my job now is to just give my mom a humble time, because she's now alone and she has 4 kids to raise. I was the firstborn, and at that time, I was in college just because my dad had told me, there's no way you're going to stay here. Go to that college as we wait for your paperwork to come through. So I was at a college where I was studying hotel management, and now my mom has to pay school fees for me, my 2 siblings who were in high school, and the little our baby brother who was in primary school. And it was so hard for her. So I asked her if I could just drop out of college so that she has only these 2 kids, so that at least they can get the high school education, which I already had. And she refused. Wow. She said to me, before I let that happen, I would have to sell everything your daddy left. I would have to sell all the land he's left, all the animals he's left. We have animals. So
she believed in you.
Cows. And,
Cows are a big thing in Kenya. It's a sign of, it's your wealth, isn't it?
Sign of wealth.
Yes. So
actually,
that's the wealth.
She really sacrificed then, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by God's grace, she sent me through. I finished college, and one day I was just minding my own business. I was doing job training somewhere, and my mom sent me a letter. I was in Mombasa at that time. She sent me a letter, and she told me these things keep coming, and it was one of these agencies that the DV lottery. There are these agencies that come in between and prey on people who don't know how these things work.
Yeah.
So you pay them for them to do the application for you.
Okay.
I had tried that before. So many times I would pay money, and my mom would give me the money. And before that, when my dad was alive, he would give me the money, but nothing came. So I tried twice and gave up. So one day she said, these things keep coming. Why don't you try again? And I was like, wait a minute. I've tried so many times. I don't think it's gonna work. So no, let me stay focused, do what I'm doing here, focus on my career now, because I was pursuing a career in hotels. So, but then 2 days later, I was just sitting somewhere with a friend, and somebody I don't even know, which is the weirdest thing, came and asked us, did you guys want to apply for the DV lottery, blah, blah, blah. And I said, why? Who are you? Why are you asking? Why are you asking us this? So then we realized where we were sitting, right behind us is a cyber cafe, and he works there. And he had been doing these applications for people for a couple of days, and he was just trying to get customers to go in, spend some time there, pay him the few shillings and help you with that. And we said, okay, so how much? He said, it doesn't matter. It just depends on how long you guys are going to stay on the computer. I said, okay, sure. So we went in, and he did the applications for both of us. And we sent in our stuff, and he gave us the confirmation right away. He said, okay, this is your confirmation. He printed it, gave it to us, and we were out of there like nothing happened. We just paid him. It was nothing. It was about 20 shillings. And we went about our business. And a couple of months later, when I had forgotten about it, a big package came in the mail, and I was like, wait a minute. So apparently I got it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What amazing.
So that's how
you got it.
Wow.
So the lottery is the U.S. government allows so many people in, and you put your name in the lottery, and you won it. You got to. And what year did you get to the U.S.?
I got here in 2007.
And so what happened then when you arrived in the U.S.? Then take us from that point.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So I went through the whole process. It's a long process, and it's not a hard process. Then came here. When I arrived here, the host family that was hosting me was people I knew from back in the day when I was a kid in Sunday school. I don't know if you know.
Oh yes, we know what that is. Yes.
Yeah. So it was my Sunday school teacher and his family. So when I came here, he was supposed to pick me up. I arrived in the morning. He wasn't there.
Oh no.
I was here at about 8 o'clock in the morning. He wasn't there. So he had given me his phone number, and he had also given me his address. So I misplaced the address, but I had the phone number.
Oh, good.
So when I got to the airport and waited for about 4 hours, I finally decided to call. I don't know how we are. You would sit there for 4 hours just waiting on somebody, and you're still thinking it's too early to call. I don't know.
It's too early. It's 4 hours. But
the Kenyans have a lot more patience than the Americans.
Trust me, I don't have the patience anymore. I'll wait for 10 minutes and, So I called, and it went to the voicemail. It didn't pick up. And then I sat there waiting, and something told me maybe I should try walking around the airport, see if I can find a cyber cafe and go back to the emails where he sent me his address and print it out. Or just get the address and get in a cab and go, because there are cabs out there. And I couldn't find a cyber. It's not like Kenya where there's cyber cafe in every corner, So there's no way I can just go in and access the computer and print or get this out. I didn't have a cell phone. So, okay, I had a cell phone, but it was useless already. So it's like I don't have it. Yeah, because it's a Kenyan line. I'm here. It's not working. It's nothing. So I decided to go get change and try calling again. So basically these quarters, because I had gotten a few quarters, I already used that when I tried to call him, so I wanted more. So I went and bought coffee and got more quarters. And then I tried to call again and he picked up and I said, I'm already here. I said, oh yeah, I already sent somebody to pick you up. You haven't seen anyone? I said, no. Yeah, I said somebody came and they had your name.
On a sign.
Yes.
Oh.
And I said, no, I've been here. I haven't seen anyone. So, okay, I said, okay, just wait. I'll come get you. And then I waited another 2 hours.
Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah. Until finally, I just decided, you know what? I'm tired of sitting down. I'm going to just start moving around in this airport. People might think I'm abandoned or something. So I went up the escalator, I took the little train, whatever it is, went to another terminal to the next until came back. And he's still not here. And the moment I sat down, I thought about maybe I should go up there, get something to eat. Again, took the escalator up, started walking around. And when I was coming back again, I saw him and I could recognize him right away because he was standing right in front of me.
Wow.
And I was so shocked. Yeah.
That was your initiation then to the U.S. Bless your heart. And, And how old were you?
I was 26, I think. I was turning 26 that November.
It's frightening. I mean, you're in a foreign country and they're not there. And so these people took you in, they sponsored you. And then what, did you go to school? Did you look for a job? Then what happened? So while there, it was a nice household because they had girls my age. Which was very nice. Yeah. Yes. And so the family has one daughter that's older than me, and actually one that's only a year older and one that's my age. So it was really good. There's so many girls in the house and everything. The family is also very nice and very kind Christians, so that was good for me. And they are, of course, Kenyan, so it's easy for me to access things I like Kenyan ugali food, Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I'm trying to transition. It wasn't so hard because when it comes to, people I can speak to, they were there. Until now, they were not there because I realized things quickly changed because I came in the weekend. So when Monday came, I started to realize, okay, everybody now is disappeared. Everybody's gone.
They're at work.
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody, when I wake up, their house is empty. Sometimes I go to bed before everybody's back. So it would be the girls have gone to college or school because one was young. She was in high school. And they have gone to work. They had to leave very early. Sometimes come back and the lady would go to another job. So she comes back really late. So it would be until maybe Saturday that we get to see each other again as a family.
Just all there by yourself.
Yeah. So the loneliness started creeping in slowly by slowly.
Hold on.
Is that okay?
The reason why I'm raising my hand is because during production, this means we need to start over again, just at where we were. Only because we keep getting your sweet little sweetie in the background coming in and out, in and out, in and out.
Okay.
And it's okay. No worries. I'm just stopping it for a second.
Okay. Let me, Mama, please go home. Go to the house. Yeah. Yep. Because I told you to sit over there, Mama. You cannot keep calm. Just go and take your mask.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or you can go over there and play a game on the computer.
I don't know.
Hurry up, Mom.
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, me either, but from here going forward. How
Okay.
about-
Sorry.
No, it's
I am
okay.
so sorry about
It's
that.
okay. We just kept hearing banging and seeing jumping in the back, and it's okay. No worries. Not at all. Hi,
Yeah.
sweetie. You're adorable.
Isn't she beautiful?
She's not happy. Hey, mommy, hurry up.
Oh, no.
Okay. She'll be okay.
Okay.
Are you
Sorry
sure?
about that.
No, it's not your fault. And we can wait, and you can go talk to her for a second. Unless
Oh
you're
no, she's gonna be okay.
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 Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to. They just kept banging and running in the background, and just
Yeah,
for the video quality. I hope she's okay.
Okay.
she's good. She's gonna be fine.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna pick it up at you're just kind of there by yourself most of the time. And now transition into then what did you do? Did you go to school? Did you work and go from there?
Yeah, so when you come here, it takes a while before you get your paperwork, before your social security comes out or your green card comes out. So during that time, you can do nothing.
Oh,
You can't work, you can't do nothing, you can't get a job, nothing. So I had to wait, and I came in September. I came in September. So throughout October, November, I wasn't able to do any work until December.
okay.
When all the stuff was here, I was able to get a driver's license,
Oh, great.
and I was able to go to start working, and I started working at Macy's. It was one of those seasonal jobs. So yeah, but during that time when I was alone in the house, I spent most of my time on the computer.
Okay.
That's when I started creating profiles on multiple social media platforms, and they had something called High Five. I joined that. They had something called Graduates. I was on that one, and they had something called MySpace. I joined that, and that didn't go so well. I quickly left, and then I couldn't join Facebook because at that time Facebook was only if you had an EDU address. I wasn't in college yet, so yeah.
So after you worked at Macy's, did you eventually then start college?
Oh yeah. So basically, I was alone a lot, even when I worked at Macy's. When I'm home, free time, there's nobody home, and so I started wondering, how am I going to? Because the one thing in my head, this is the thing that happens with most of us when you're growing up in Africa. You get a passing grade, but also it's not very easy to go to college because there was only a certain number of universities that would admit a certain number of people. So you could get a very strong B minus, or even a B plus, or even a strong C plus, but you're not admitted into any college. It wasn't like here. You would have to literally get an admission, from the Ministry of Education. Not that you can just apply to whichever college you want and it's automatic. When you pass, you go. So you come here, you're craving for an education. Education is everything. You want to go to school. You want to amount to something. And that was me. My biggest thing, I wanted to go to school, and that's something that was up there on the list. Go to school first and everything else later. So when I came here, there was somebody I was dating before I came here. So sorry to say this, but that automatically took a very back seat back there, because already there was so much distance between us, and it wasn't practical anymore. And also because I knew that I have to just go back and start my life over. It's almost like you hit a reset.
Okay.
And trying to go to college here, I also realized that every education I did after high school doesn't matter anymore, because they asked me for my paperwork to go and do the evaluation at West. And West did my evaluation, everything came through 4.0 GPA. But when I sent those to college, they couldn't take any of my credits.
Oh,
So yeah, so I was a transfer student with 0 credit. So I had to start from
scratch.
0.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, they even had me taking algebra because they said I don't have proof of college level mathematics. They had me take an English test, which I think is okay, which I did very well, and that was not a problem. And so those are some of the challenges I faced trying to transition. And yes, I did manage to look up colleges, and I had no idea what I'm doing. There wasn't anybody around for me to ask because the girls in the house are always in and out. We don't get time to talk or anything. So I was just looking for colleges where it's not too far from where I live, that I can be able to commute. And I quickly realized, Rutgers is not far from here, and this is not far from here. But then when it came to the fees, now that's where I made the decision. I said, okay, I'll take one with fees that is also affordable. It's not too expensive. And I ended up going to William Patterson University here in Wayne, New Jersey.
So, did you eventually graduate with a degree?
Yes, I did finance, and I graduated. And during that time when I started school, I also started looking for work. So the Macy's job was not supposed to last. It was only for the holidays. Yeah. So when that was done, I started looking for a job, and I got the first job was direct care, where I was working with persons with developmental disabilities, adults, and these were people who are completely disabled, wheelchair bound. Basically, you would have to help them with everything. So you'd have to help them feed, shower, everything, basically, dressing, everything. And I did that for about 6 months, and I got another job at PNC Bank, which was a teller job, part-time. So I took the job. It was working for me. I talked to my boss to give me an evening schedule where I work overnight, and then I can go to PNC Bank in the morning. And I was still in school as a full-time student. So,
I've met so many women, that came. And I tell you, it's not easy. You think, we're going to the U.S., the richest country. It's going to be a cakewalk. It is very difficult. And the loneliness that and not only you're by yourself in a foreign country, you don't have your family support anymore. And then everything is a struggle.
Even just getting off of the airplane and trying to get a ride. I mean, from the very beginning, it's you, Herman, mama, man.
And people just, they have no idea how difficult it is and all the obstacles that you have to overcome.
It's true. Even when we go to Kenya, even getting used to driving just on the opposite side of the road, little things like that are, I can't imagine coming
by yourself
and trying to learn all of this. It's amazing. And it sounds like you have a heart for helping people. I mean, that kind of a job where you're bathing people and helping them on that level of care, sounds like you've really been good at wanting to help others. Is that something you've always felt in your heart?
It's I don't know. I think being a firstborn, automatically you're positioned to help.
Sure,
absolutely.
You have responsibilities.
Yes, I feel like I raised my siblings, and because in Kenya, you're supposed to be responsible. You're supposed to be the example. You're supposed to take care of them. It's just something we do. It's natural, with African families, I feel like personally, my personality, many times people tell me, sometimes you have to put yourself first. And it was very hard for me to understand that until I had my coach tell me that Lily, you have to understand that even if you die today, you drop down here and die today, KWITU will still be here, you know? So when you're not okay in mentally, or you're not okay physically, or your health is not okay, you're not going to be able to help anyone.
That is such a great thing. You know, you have to take care of yourself. How can you help anybody else if you're not healthy? And that means mentally, emotionally, physically. It's so it's so important that you're not being selfish when you take care of yourself.
And as women, it seems like it's a universal thing. We are taught to put others first, others first, others first. And then you come to a point in your life where it's like, well, wait a minute, I have nothing left to give because I haven't given anything to myself. And so it's good that you had somebody help you take a step back and realize, okay, I'm important too. I need to take care of myself. And
so after, so you did get your degree in finance. Is that what you said? Or business?
Yes.
And then you went out into the working world, I assume?
Yes. And now, before I talk about that, also, I wanted to say something about these direct care jobs, you know. So with us, when we grow up in Africa, we always we keep our families close. Yes. So when you see your mom getting old, the older she gets, the older you adore her. And it's just how we are. And when, like a grandmother, when your grandma walks into the house, you know, she commands all the attention. You know, you make sure she's sitting properly, you make sure she's well taken care of. We adore these older people because we believe they're the custodians of blessings that come to us and our families. Beautiful. So when you work with people like that, older people, especially who are helpless like that, you tend to be very you have to respect them. And it's something that I don't know how to explain it. It's more of it's not just a job, you know. It's a service that is coming from somewhere very deep within, and you want to make sure they're okay, they're comfortable, they're happy, they're warm. You know, it has to be out of love, or else I don't think people would survive doing these jobs.
You couldn't do that. And, you know, and I love that about the Kenyan culture too, is that, you know, the older that you get, the more respect that you command.
Yes.
And, but that carried over then when you were taking care of these people. And because it carried over from your culture. That's what you do. You respect people, you take care of them. So it really impacted your life as well.
Yes, and it was very easy to do that because it's not that I was just forcing myself or I'm just thinking about my paycheck. It was I'm caring for somebody else. My grandma is not here, but here I am with these older people.
Yes. Yeah. That's so great because a lot of people do treat things like that as a job, and it's not fair to that person. It's not fair to the person who is getting care, but it's a wonderful thing. You felt a calling to be sure that these people were taken care of, and personal responsibility. And you know, we don't see that a lot in the U.S.
Well, that's what I was just thinking. It's not. It is not taught in this culture the way it is taught in Kenya. And it's a beautiful thing to bring into this culture and to bring back and to show that the respect for somebody who's lived life, and life isn't easy, and gone through the ups and the downs and the ins and the outs. And they do have wisdom and they do have value, and we should be giving them reverence and love and support. And so that's a beautiful gift to bring over here. We need those things in America. We need those virtues, those values. That's amazing.
And I was just going to say, as you know, Lily, in the US, we revere young people, youth.
Yeah.
And backwards. And it's totally backwards. And then, you know, when you get older, well, you're not contributing to society anymore. You don't have worth. And it's really, really destructive. And what a great thing that that you brought that from your background, and this is a calling. We respect people and we take care of them. And Lily, we take teams over to Kenya to do a lot of volunteer work. And we are always so enriched by the culture of Kenya in those very ways, the community, the closeness, again, taking care of your elders and taking care of each other. We don't even know who our neighbors are.
Yes.
In the US.
Yeah.
And we tell people, listen, we're going over to Kenya, and yes, we're going to help. We're going to build homes. We're going to do water projects and help with schools. But let me tell you, I guarantee you, when the experience is over, you're going to say, they gave more to me. And so for you to come and to help us, I mean, that is a blessing. And I know a lot of people that are in the diaspora, and a lot of people don't even know what that word is, but that's people living outside of their country. And I've met a lot of women in the Kenya diaspora who take care, who do home health care. And I think a lot of it goes back to what you're talking about, that this is not a job. And it's hard to find people that will do that, but you embraced it, and it's a calling. It was a ministry for you. And that's just incredible. And so what did you do after that, after you were in home health care?
Hold on, sweetie.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to give you just a little break real quick so you can go. I think your daughter's wanting you, and then we'll come back to that exact question.
Okay.
Okay.
And she's fine. She's adorable. Don't worry.
Okay.
You want to just check on her?
All right.
Okay. It's great.
Yeah.
These people are learning a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To hear her story.
Yeah. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it is important that it's great that we love our kids and we love our youth and we love, however, it's very backwards that
it's very destructive to culture and society.
It is. The older generation, it's just like the indigenous, the Navajo, and very respect.
Same thing.
It's the same thing. And it makes sense. They're older, their joints are hurting. They should be heard of what they have to pass on. And
we don't even gain from the knowledge. We'll take care of it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So,
I mean, I just love hearing her story.
Oh, me too. And even if I had to go to Kenya all by myself to go to university and I had no idea what was going on.
All right. So Lily, we're going to,
okay. You back?
Okay.
You're fine. You're
okay,
fine.
dear. And
this is great. You're doing great.
We love hearing your story.
Oh, man.
And our listeners will just eat this up. So we're gonna start from the point then after you get out of home health care, then did you go into business? And then we'll move into the KWITU, what you founded and that kind of thing.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
So during that time, I had 2 jobs full-time and school full-time. So I would come to my job doing direct care at night. Wake up early, finish my work. At 8 o'clock, I'm on my way to my other job at PNC. And it's full-time because I worked for them for about 2 weeks. And they asked me if I want to be full-time. And I said, sure. So now I'm going there every day from 8:30 to 5 p.m. in the evening. And then from there, straight, I pass by my home, go to school at William Patterson in Wayne. And that was my life for so many months. Yeah. And the reason I had to do that is because, one, I had to move out, of course. You can't overstay your...
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I had to get my own place. So I got me a little basement apartment. And also, when you come here, I came just one person from my family. So guess what? Now my whole family depends on me for
support.
Yes, so for support. So I had a brother who was now in the university. I had a sister who was in high school, and my little brother was also now going to high school. So I had to be
Mm.
able to help my mom offset some of these fees, and also make sure my family lives in a good house, because it would be terrible that you're in America, you live in a beautiful place, and your parents still live where they lived when things were really not. Yeah. So my mom, I had to move her to a better house.
You were sending money back. And one
Yes.
thing our listeners need to understand is school is not paid for in primary or high school. In none of the schooling is paid for, correct? You are paying for all of that.
Yes. So yes, and during that time, even primary used to pay some money for tuition. What they just had little fees here and there, and high school, of course, you pay for tuition plus boarding, because they were all going to boarding schools. University, same thing.
Very
Same-
expensive.
So you were sending money back to help your family.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And so I had to keep the two jobs. I had to push myself so hard, make sure my family is happy and I'm happy, Yeah. And many people do that. A lot
Yes,
of
they
people
do.
that. This is I think most of immigrants, this is our story.
The diaspora, they do. They send
Yes.
money back home, and it's actually, a huge part of the GNP in Kenya is what the diaspora send back home to keep that economy going. But it's difficult because it's a strain on people, because it's not cheap to live in the U.S.
No.
So
No.
you've got big expenses here. You're sending a big chunk of your paycheck back home. And it's something that goes on, and it's every month. They need school fees. Somebody's in the hospital.
Yeah.
And
Water.
one of the reasons why we got into water, and you probably know this from my story, was the fact that what we want to do, if Kenyans had water, particularly in the rural areas, eventually then they make enough to be able to plant their gardens. There's enough then to eat, to sell. It begins to accelerate the economy. And what we want to do with our water projects, for instance, is to help girls not to have to carry water on their backs, but also to get the economy going so that they don't have to depend on people from the US or even their families. And we want that is our big goal in Kenya is this water, because it really is the engine behind so much of the economy. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, all these people in Kenya that I know that live in the US or around the world, the diaspora, they send money back home, and it is not easy. It is a big burden to try to keep your expenses in the U.S. And we can imagine if we had to send back $500-$600 a month back, it's a big chunk, it's a big burden, but you all accept it. And you say, my brothers and sisters have to be taken care of. My mother, my grandmother, they have to be taken care of. And let me tell my audience, every Kenyan that I know works a couple of jobs, at least for the first many years they're here, to get themselves going and to keep their families going.
And I would like to just hit on very quickly, water is a burden for the girls and the women in Kenya. Is that correct? And so they're the ones who have to fetch the water. They're the ones who have to start the fire, cook the water, get it going. So even before everybody's up, even before they go to school, you're up having to go get that water, bring it back. It's a huge responsibility. And another big reason why girls aren't even able to go to school sometimes.
All right.
Absolutely true.
And then you come over here and you're working two jobs. I mean, you guys are just amazing in what you do to create value for yourselves, but also value for your families back home, and you work so very, very hard. And our hats off to you and the Kenyans, who just, people have no idea what it's like to live in a foreign country, even though it becomes your country. The U.S., also becomes, your country as well. But you're still a Kenyan, and you always will be. And incredible. So keep going. So you're out there working. You're sending money home, and so what kind of work did you eventually do after the home health care? Did you get into business full time to continue with the banking, or?
Yeah. So just when I'm still working these jobs, 2 jobs, going to school, I decided to go home, visit my mom back to Kenya. So this was the following year. And when my mother saw me, when she picked me up at the airport, she saw me and she just broke down and started crying. And she cried so much. And I was just standing there wondering, what's wrong? Why is she crying like this? And I thought, oh, she's just happy to see me. And it's, it's that first reunion, because, I know she thought the way I wanted to go out there, probably I was never going to come back.
Yeah.
So, she cried, and then when she finally got a hold of herself, she told me, "My goodness, why do you look like this?" She was like, "I cannot. Why do you look like this? All of a sudden, you are so thin. You are so dark. You look tired. You look old. What's wrong?" And I look at her and I'm like, nothing. Why? Why do you think, because for me, whatever is going on with me is something I can't see because it has happened gradually. Maybe and I haven't noticed yet. And she asked me, do you eat? Do you drink water? Are you sleeping? Do you sleep? And I said, Mom, I work hard. I want to be able to afford your lives here and my life there. So I do my best to sleep and all of that. And I also I'm in school. So my mom was like, you know what? No. At the airport, we haven't even gotten in that. We're still standing there with my suitcases. She said, no. I'd rather go hungry than see you look like this. You went to America. I was expecting you to come back looking like
plump.
You were eating enough McDonald's.
Yeah, she was expecting me to come back looking fabulous, like the girls on TV or whatever. So I came back looking like a scarecrow. She couldn't recall me.
Scarecrow.
So she said, no, I don't want your money. I don't want anything from you. If you're going to die doing this, forget it. I cannot allow you to. Oh my gosh, she was so shocked. And I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't realize that I looked so. So we went to a hotel because she lives in Kakamega. We couldn't travel all the way that night. So because I arrived at night, so we went to our hotel, and the following day she sat me down and started talking, and she just encouraged me and told me, we are fine. You've done enough. We can, I can always figure things out. You don't have to worry about us but so she told me, I want you to stop working at night.
Okay.
I want you not to work at night. I want you to be able to sleep.
Sure.
And have one job and do whatever that job can do for you. So when I came back, I didn't go back to the other job.
Okay.
Yeah. So I kept my job at PNC full time, which when I decided to just work one job, I started thriving. I was doing so well. I stayed with them for 6 years.
Okay.
And I only left because I was having my child and I couldn't separate. I had separation problems. One time I left my kid home to go back to work after maternity leave, and I couldn't survive the whole day. And
it doesn't feel natural.
No, it's gut wrenching.
Yeah.
It's gut wrenching, isn't it, to have to do that?
Yeah.
So I decided to take a year off, be with my child. And it's so funny because when I was pregnant, I graduated. I finished school when I am 7 months in. So yes. So on my graduation, since I finished in summer, when I walked, I actually had my baby on me.
How sweet.
Yeah. So,
and so after that year, then did you go back into working in business?
After that year, I actually went back. I looked for a direct care job.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And the reason I wanted to do that is because I still wanted more time with my child. So I looked for a job that I can work in the night so that in the daytime I'm with her. And then once I have her ready to sleep and everything, she can sleep home with her daddy. And then I'm working.
Wow.
So
it worked out well. It worked out well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I want to transition now, because what you did then is you realized that this is not easy coming to this country. And women like me from Kenya who live in this country need support.
Yes.
Yes. And so you started an organization called KWITU, which stands for Kenya Women in the United States. Now tell us about that organization.
Yes.
So KWITU basically came because of this whole story I've told you.
Exactly.
Yes. So when you come to America, you realize everything you thought is going on in America is not exactly what's happening.
That's right.
You're not going to come from the airport and find a big tree full of dollar leaves and shake it and get money. No, there's nothing.
That's true too. So tell me when you find it.
There's no such thing. You arrive here, you realize how hard it is to even know who your neighbor is.
Yeah.
And then you hit winter, something you've never seen in your life. We are tropic. All year. It's just,
yes.
Yeah. So the weather is different. The food is different. The culture is different. And for most of us, when we come here, if we don't transition really well and really quickly, we fall through the cracks.
Sure.
It has happened to so many of us. The loneliness is super real because I could feel it. When I was here, about a month later, my uncle, who's the brother to my dad, died, and he was basically that guy who was there that I could call. He's like my dad.
Yeah.
So it's like it was the saddest thing, and I couldn't go home. I don't even know if I had that grieving process. It started hitting me slowly, and it was so lonely all the time. I didn't know who to talk to about this, because even though I'm living here in this house, at that time I was still in the house. They're not really my blood relatives, so I didn't feel free to talk to them like that. So being disconnected from your family is very real. When you start getting lonely, it's you become homesick.
Yes.
And I don't know how to treat that. But
and Lily, my experience, because I've been over to Africa a lot of times, but I've taken my boys 4 times, and every time we come back, we go to Africa and we have this just community of people. I mean, neighbors, everybody is so loving and so helpful. And then I would come back and I would get so depressed being back in America, because I didn't have that tribe around me. I didn't know my neighbors. So that loneliness, I could just imagine how deep and hard. And then losing an uncle that was like a dad
to you.
That's a hard place to be.
And so you use all of that to start this KWITU to give women like you in Kenya that live in the United States some support. Listen, we're all out here. We're lonely. We're struggling. We're not with our family back in Kenya. And so how many women are a part of KWITU?
Okay, so what I wanted is for us not to go through these things alone, and especially for people coming from Kenya, not to go through any of the stuff we went through when we got here with nobody. So what I wanted was to connect Kenyan women. Awesome. And once we are connected, we have to now support one another and empower one another. And that's the mission of KWITU, connecting, supporting, and empowering Kenyan women here in the States.
Wow.
So when we created the forum, when I put the forum out there on Facebook, because we exist in so many different ways. We have the Facebook forum, which was our place of connection. And then now we have the organization, which is now also now the legal entity that backs us up. Mm-hmm. And through that, we even have a business arm of KWITU, which is called KWITU Global. So when we started when KWITU came to be, it was to really look for us, Kenyan women, and put us together and start talking, start knowing one another, start connecting. And you've been to one of our reunions.
Yes.
Those are insane.
It's so much fun. It's so much
fun. And we connect, and this is the thing. We started connecting online, and now we are really out there offline, because even though we do the annual reunions, we also have the state level meetups that we do across the United States.
Yes, I've been to many of them too.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was the mission. I wanted us to start healing, because some of us are so lonely. And in KWITU, we're talking all day. You're going to laugh, you're going to cry at the same time, you're going to even, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're looking for, just come and ask. Somebody knows the answer. Somebody will show you where to go or what to do, whether the problem is here or in Kenya.
Yes.
We have all the answers in there. And that's what we wanted. And that's what I wanted to see. I wanted the Kenyan women not to go or not to suffer alone or not to go through the cracks, because we have real community issues, serious community issues. And I know we'll talk about that. But the first thing we had to do is to connect.
Yes. Yeah. And that was a huge undertaking to get a grassroots organization and get everybody connected together. And what you have done with that, again, as you said, I've been to some of the conventions, and especially when you hear a story like yours, you realize how important that is. And so what you did, you saw a need, and you met the need out of your own need. And that's one of the things that this show is about, is using your experiences in life to help other people. And what you said is so great. I don't want anybody to have to go through what I went through. And so you use that now to help. So, it's the largest women's Kenya organization, I believe, in the United States, is it not, KWITU?
In the entire diaspora.
Entire diaspora.
Yes. And so what year would that started? Did you start KWITU?
Started in 2015.
And so it's only 5 years or so old, and you've grown that network then, and you have conventions. You're, like you say, you're connecting on social media. If somebody, for instance, loses a family member back home, you're there for them, helping them through the grieving process. You're also doing business, helping women to connect with business. Let's do business together. I'm going to go into that now. Not only did you start KWITU and everything else, you also started a cosmetic line. And so you're helping each other also to thrive in the working world and in business, and to be able to have assets and to empowering each other and working together. So that is truly amazing. I want to hear about your cosmetic line.
Yeah.
Too. Is it Lavish by Lilly? Is that right?
Yes. So before I say anything about that, I wanted to tell you about this document that we have on our website called Karibu American.
Oh, good.
So that is something we put out there for anybody in Kenya who's thinking about going to America, and you happen to check our website. So Karibu means welcome to America. Yes. Welcome. So basically, we tell you everything. When you get to the airport, this is what you need to have.
So you have a whole handbook for these people already. Wow.
That is so perfect.
Yes, absolutely. This is how you get access to the Wi-Fi. This is how you get an Uber if you want to go. Before you leave, make sure you have the names of your hosts, the addresses, the phone numbers somewhere where you cannot misplace those, so that people cannot be stuck at the airport, or you can easily panic. I'm a very calm person. Somebody will be stuck there for 2 hours and they're panicking already. They're losing it.
Right.
So I would.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you came up with this whole handbook, basically.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And
Just from your life experience.
Just from what you went through.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Again, what a great thing. That's what we want people to do is listen, take your experiences
Exactly.
and help somebody else through them.
Yeah.
And in that sense, we become healed helpers to each other. And so that was a big undertaking in and of itself, to have all that information for people on your website. And so in addition to the business, and in addition to just community and the loneliness issues, you're dealing with just basic things of when you get here, this is what can happen. Here's what you're going to need. Preparation. You're preparing these people. And that's fantastic. I mean, wow. And I think I asked you earlier, but about how many women are in KWITU?
Right now, 14,000.
14,000.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. That's insane, Lily. 14,000.
You go, girl.
But look at the support you're giving to 14,000 people, not only to them, to their children, their families, and their people back home. I mean, look at this network, this safety net thing. What an incredible, what?
Thank you.
Okay, high five.
Yeah.
Okay, so wow. And then you didn't stop there. Now you started your own cosmetic line. I mean, my goodness gracious.
Yes, I did. And the reason I started.
You're so beautiful.
Woo, glowing.
Oh, thank you.
Can Mzungus, that means white people for,
Mzungus.
Can we have some of those cosmetics? Will they work for us and make us beautiful like you?
You're already beautiful, but yeah, I have them on my website. So
wow. When did you start that? When did you start the cosmetic business?
In 2019.
Oh, so it's new.
What is the name of your cosmetic business? So if we want to go check it out, or our listeners want to check it out?
It's Lavish by Lilly. So if you go to lavishbylilly.com, you'll find it.
That's amazing. And you have a daughter. You're newly married.
Yeah, I have a 7-year-old.
And you had a wedding in Kenya.
I had my wedding in Kenya. I had 2 wedding dates because initially I was supposed to get married in August, and then COVID-19 said, hell no.
Yeah, good old COVID. It's saying that to a lot of things.
It's ruining all of our plans, isn't it?
Yeah, so I cried, but so I waited until December, and we finally got married.
Oh,
yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations. In a month now. Yes.
So what are, where do you see yourself, Lily, in 5-10 years? Or where do you see KWITU and your life? And what words of wisdom can you leave us with here today?
Oh my goodness. I have so much to say about that, because an organization like us came about because it was necessary. Yes. It was an organization whose time has come. It is the simplest thing that people overlook that actually brought us together, because you'd hear somebody talk about loneliness and you're like, oh, so what? Loneliness, people are lonely. It looks like it's no big deal, but you realize many people are depressed because they have no one to turn to. Yeah. And loneliness is actually one of the biggest challenges we in this community face.
Yes.
People are isolated by their partners, because being an immigrant community, sometimes you meet a guy and you're in Africa and he's like, oh, I can marry you, bring you to America, you come over here. And then you realize the reality of things. He's maybe, I don't know, and he realizes now you are at his mercy. You don't have papers unless he files papers for you. And now you start going down a very terrible road and you have no way out because you don't know anybody. If they isolate you, you don't have no one. You just know him. He's my, I depend on him. I belong to him. And it happens to so many people, especially in the immigrant community. And such women are very lonely. They're very trapped. Yeah. And that's one of the things that we as KWITU try to help with. If you're in such a situation, by all means, we would want to hear from you. If you can reach us and we talk to our members and tell them, if you discover something like this, please, let's talk, let's fix it. We work with authorities, we work with other organizations. Wow. And so being a community that that doesn't frown on things like domestic violence, some of our culture actually encourages men to beat up their wives.
Yes. Domestic violence is a huge,
big. It's actually the biggest challenge we face.
It is.
Yeah. So our community, in fact, if you try to report that your husband beats you, the community will shun you. They'll say, why are you trying to get your husband arrested? Why are you putting your husband in trouble? Why are you so ungrateful? This is the father of your children. Why are you, So women would rather get beat up to death than come out and speak up and say, listen, I'm going through this. I need some help. And what we do is we try to tell these women, listen, even if you're afraid to go to the authority, then let's find another way, Let us help you escape, put you somewhere safe, stay there quietly, and figure out from there what's going to happen. If you don't want your husband to be in trouble, but we can still find ways of you living with your life intact, and so much going on, things, mental illness, according to so many people. As a Black woman, you're not supposed to be depressed. You're not even supposed to suicide. For what? You're strong. You're mentally strong. Black people don't get depressed. Black people, Kenyans or whatever, don't get, don't be like this, Like a woman would be depressed and she doesn't want her husband to know she's going through things like that. Because my husband will judge me, his family will judge me or whatever. You'd rather keep it to yourself, struggle alone. And I know many people, even our own selves, we've looked at somebody who's going through these mental things and be like, wait, therapist, why are you going to a therapist? Did you ever see your mom in Africa go to a therapist?
Right. What's wrong with you?
But Lilly,
what's wrong with you?
Yeah, you're so many great points, and so many great points that COVID has brought to light. Actually, is the mental illness has gone up, the isolation has gone up, suicide has gone up, depression has gone up, and in so many instances, like you're saying, oh, we're not allowed to talk about it because our family has different views on it, and we feel like we're going to get kicked out of our family base, our tribe, just because we believe differently than they believe. And that's just it. It's about taking care of ourselves, like we talked about in the beginning. It is okay to take care of yourself. This is beautiful what you're giving these women, and this kind of education is for all of us. It is. So thank you for what you're bringing forward.
And it reminds me of something that I learned about you, or something that KWITU wants to do, and that is to provide some housing for women who need to get out of a domestic violent situation and to be able to have a home, or, something to go to. And I believe that's something that KWITU is working on. So I just want to say right now to our listeners, if you buy a bag from us today, on our store, any of those proceeds are going to go to help KWITU to fund this housing for these women that need to get out of an abusive situation. And that's what the Bag Ladies is about, not only helping people in Kenya and Africa and around the world, but people here. And this is a real need. And I know that you have a heart for KWITU to go into this, to provide some of these housing situations for some of these women. They're trapped, as talked about. So I just want our listeners to know that today, anybody that's listening and buys a bag, it's going to go to KWITU to help get some shelter, to be able to get out of those situations. And wow, you just knocked the ball out of the park, as we say in the U.S. If you know baseball, you got to know baseball. But you are an example for all of us, not just women from Kenya, but for all of us of what you went through as a child, the eldest child. You're having to take responsibilities. You come to the U.S., not a lot of support. You experience all of these problems. And what did you do? You didn't just sulk about it or turn inward or poor me. No, you did something about it and say, I'm going to help people that go through this. It's kind of like, well, I've never been through a divorce, so I don't know really what that's like. But someone who has, they're very empathetic and they know exactly what this person is going through. You know exactly what these women are going through, but you haven't just sat back and said, oh, well, too bad. I'm going to just live my life and enjoy it. No, you did something about it. And in so doing, there's no telling, maybe the stars in the sky, how many people that you have touched and generationally changed and their children. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you today for sharing your story and your life and opening up and helping our listeners to understand some of the problems that you all face, but also just this example of taking what was given to you in life, but turning it around and making something good out of it and helping people with it and finding purpose in it. And I tell you, I just feel like, I'm your sister now. And I just feel so bonded to you. And I've admired you since we met, and I've been a part of a couple of the KWITU conventions, the national and some other state ones. But to hear your journey is so inspiring. And we just thank you so much for taking the time. You're so busy with KWITU and your little girl and marriage and Lavished by Lilly. Don't forget to go to check that out as well. And if there's anything that we can do to help KWITU and to help it's a ministry. Please, let us know. We want to be a part of that. And that's, again, why we're here and why we're doing what we're doing is to provide mainly support for women and to empower them. And so we're really partners together. And we want you to understand that and to know that. And
and even though I'm not from Kenya, I do feel like a Kenyan because I have so much family there. I want to be part of KWITU, even though I'm not from Kenya. Man, what a great organization, Lilly. Thank you.
Thank you so very, very much. And we will be in touch. And tell your little daughter, thank you for sharing her mommy
Sweet little girl.
Today. And God bless you, my dear.
Yeah, let's do this again.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for allowing me to tell my story and tell the KWITU story. I hope we'll have another session some other time because I have so much KWITU stuff to tell you.
Oh,
let's do it. Amazing stuff. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes. We want to have part 2. We want to have maybe part 3. Or part 4.
I will be back. It's a lot, and thank you for all the work you do in Kenya. Well, on behalf of all the Kenyans that know what you do.
Yeah, it's our blessing. It's our blessing, and to get to know people like you is the
makes
cherry.
It worth it.
Oh my goodness! Well, listen, you have a great day there. We will we'll encourage our listeners to buy a bag and to help change a life and to help a great cause. And God bless you. And we look forward to part 2 and hearing how you just continue to rock the world with compassion.
Yeah, you crush it, girl.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, Lily is a wonderful, amazing woman, and what an inspiring story, and helping this huge network, like 14,000 Kenya women, to not only survive but to thrive.
Yeah, and I just still am blown away by how scary it would be just thinking of even going to Kenya for the first
Right.
time by myself, not knowing the culture, even driving on the opposite side of the road
Yes.
and different currencies. And what she has done is just truly miraculous.
Yes. So, such a fun, sweet lady. Too.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful, fun, sweet lady. And we're going to help her organization.
Yeah, and the ways that we're helping Tribe is we're having you buy a bag, and we have so many beautiful bags, and the proceeds, of course, are going to help support amazing women around the world, including Lily and what she's done for people. So you can go to www.thebagladyshow.com to buy a bag, help a cause, change a life. And also, please like us, follow us, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, give us some reviews on Apple and Spotify, and continue showing up as our tribe. This is created for you in mind. This came out of
really
love for everyone. And so we're so glad you're here with us.
Yes, indeedy we are. And beginning next Thursday, we are going to start a drawing.
Yes.
So you can go online at thebagladyshow.com, register to win some awesome prizes like some of our merchandise, some of our bags, even we're going to have some cash prizes, gift certificates, and a you have a chance to win a safari to Kenya.
Oh boy.
You're going to want to go online and register to be eligible for these drawings. And we're looking forward to doing that next week. No cost to enter. Just go to thebagladyshow.com and register for the drawing starting next Thursday.
Awesome. How fun. Well, our quote for the day is by Anne Frank. And she said, "No one has ever become poor by giving."
And that is so true. And in fact, you truly become rich by giving. So everybody, let's go out this week and crush it with compassion. Buy a bag, help a cause, change a life.